feeling a lot of toxic negativity in this room right now, because we're going to be talking about a missed opportunity from Assassin's Creed 2, which is very similar to the one we talked about from Assassin's Creed 1. Nate, I'm actually going to let you introduce this topic so it's not the 5-minute mark before people hear your voice.
Kind of similar to the Assassin's Creed 1 video, the Ubisoft did a good job with world building in this game too, with pointing out areas where pieces of Eden or temples or things like that are around the world, but also a second part of this, they've also talked about some of the history of assassins in Assassin's Creed 2, which I found very interesting. It was one of my favorite parts about that game, but it also just kind of made me disappointed in general.
And we're going to hop into those in just a second, but if you enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. Plenty of ways to support the channel we'll show throughout the video. And our question of the day, real quick, that I want to hear from you in the comments down below. Who is your favorite assassin in the Assassin's Creed series? Interested to hear that. And also, why? What do you like so much about them?
And why is it Yasuke?
Oh no, now we're in trouble.
So, to get started with this, so in Assassin's Creed 2, you can collect all these codex pages throughout the game, and when you put them on the wall in Monteregione, it actually creates a map when you use Eagle Vision on it. And the map is basically to find out where different lairs are, or Isu temples, or pieces of Eden, or whatever, are throughout the world.
Artifacts related to the first civilization.
Right.
And essentially, these are also artifacts as well that Abstergo is tracking down in the present day.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why this is so important, is because they're basically using this picture of the past for Abstergo to try and find these things today. And then the assassins are doing the same thing to try and get ahead of them.
Yeah, and just to look at the map here, there's so many kind of interesting areas with this. So, for example, we have one set in America. It's set near Boston area, which we'll get to this in a second. Another one set up in Norway. There's one that looks like it's in kind of Mongolia area / South Russia, somewhere around there. One in Africa, two kind of near Australia, and two near South America, but not in the Caribbean, but on the other side, kind of in the Pacific Ocean of South America.
And worth mentioning, these are all once you've assembled the codex pages.
Yeah, once you're done, you're looking at the
Eagle
map
Vision.
and so on.
Which, by the way, that has one of my favorite lines in it ever, when Ezio's basically like, what are these? There's no land here. Talking about America.
I thought that was hilarious.
I thought that was awesome.
I thought that was really funny. But anyways, what I find kind of interesting is Assassin's Creed, they established there's 8 of these, at least by the time of Assassin's Creed 2, that are in the world that the Abstergo is looking for and also the assassins are looking for. But they've only gone back and done something with 2 of them.
And I know there are references to some pieces of Eden that were either damaged, destroyed, or that they were unable to locate, or the assassins have. Like, you even find references to these things in, first off, a lot of emails. You know, you basically have to channel your inner Hillary Clinton when you're playing through games like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Assassin's Creed 3, 1 as well, and, you know, obviously 2.
4 has a lot of emails,
Yeah, when you're walking around the Abstergo offices. So we're not saying that they don't do anything with any of these. I think what we're talking about is we don't get to see the story of what happened to a lot of these things. And some of them are never followed up on in any capacity.
Yeah, like just from this map, we have the Boston one, obviously, from Assassin's Creed 3, so they did something with that. They also have one that kind of looks like it's near Norway. It's either Norway, Sweden, but Assassin's Creed Valhalla, they finally went back and did something with that game. But we also have one that's like South Russia, North Mongolia area, Africa, Australia, South America. Again, Assassin's Creed 1 referenced that there was stuff going on in Peru, South America, things like that. Assassin's Creed 2 kind of established that they maybe are more on like islands because they're off the coast. They're not actually on the mainland area. And Africa, but again, we don't have anything with these.
Right.
They've never gone back and done any games or anything with these areas, and I definitely think it's a missed opportunity. You know, they've touched on a couple of them, but it's like, you're doing all this world building, and fans get super excited about this stuff, but then you don't really do anything with them. You know, it took them how many years to get to Valhalla? I think Valhalla came out in 2020, late 2020. So, Assassin's Creed 2 came out in, 2009? Something, like 2008? It took them, 12 or 11 years to get to Valhalla. And then the one in America, we did get that one pretty quickly afterwards with AC3. So they did something with that at least. But you have all these other ones, 6 other ones that they've never touched. 6 out of 8 of these they've never done anything with. I find that kind of disappointing personally. And also with Assassin's Creed 2, when you go into the basement of Monteriggioni, there's the 6 assassin statues that you have to go and find their
you have to go to the crypts and you have to essentially find the
artifact and bring it back there so you can get the armor of Altair.
Each seal you put in the statue associated with that assassin's crypt, and then the armor of Altair is finally unveiled to Ezio, and then it's blown apart by a cannon in the intro of the next game. But anyways,
But to run through these, I think these are fascinating. This is one of my favorite moments in Assassin's Creed. So you have the assassin Wei Yu, who is famous for assassinating the first emperor of China, which is Qin Shi Huang.
Wow.
Kind of interesting.
Diverse guy over here.
I know. He's the one that actually started the Qin dynasty, which is where China gets its name from.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think it's kind of interesting.
Still can't get a full China game. We got the side scroller with Xiao Jun, which I like a lot.
And we'll have a mobile game.
Yeah, don't
you have mobile games?
I kind of think that would be a whole video in and of itself, because I have my own theories on why they won't do that.
We also have, I'm going to butcher this name, Kulan Gal.
Not very diverse here.
And I know, I'm sorry. I'm very diverse when it comes to Chinese people, but not Mongolians.
Oh, good.
So he's an assassin that actually assassinated Genghis Khan, which I find interesting.
That's cool.
We have Leonius, who's an assassin that assassinated Caligula. Iltani, who's a female assassin who poisoned Alexander the Great. And then the last 2 I wanted to get to were Darius, who is a Persian assassin, and he's actually the one that used the hidden blade, but he murdered Xerxes, the Persian king.
We actually get story about him.
Yeah, so that's why I want to get into these. And then Amunet, who's famous for murdering Cleopatra. So we have 6 assassins that are mentioned here. We even have a story of who they killed in history. But Ubisoft has only done something with 2 of them. So
we're not counting books, by the way.
Right.
I'm not saying that
they're
not
games.
Yeah, we're not saying they're not canon. But when we're talking about this, we're not talking about, well, actually, in the novel Assassin's Creed, bottom of my ass, they got into how Kublai Khan was secretly cucked by George Washington. Like, we're not talking about, like, the random novels.
Right.
We're not talking about the spin-off comics. We know that they are considered canon.
Yep.
What we're talking about is being able to play the adventures in a game.
Yeah, right.
And there's definitely
them.
There's room for these side stories. Like, for example, Assassin's Creed Lineage is pretty cool. Like a little, movie side story.
Right.
Awesome.
It's interesting.
When we're talking about this, we're talking about you saying that it's a missed opportunity to not be able to experience any of these adventures except for a couple. And even with Aya, you only get to play as her in select portions. She doesn't really get her own game. She doesn't really get to shine very often. It's just certain sections you can play as her.
Right.
And that's it.
And it's not even revealed that her name is Amunet till the very end of the game. When she leaves Egypt, basically. Not to get into spoilers here.
Well, it doesn't matter. The game's been out for a few years.
Okay. Well, she leaves Egypt, basically, and goes to Rome and starts the Roman branch of assassins there, or hidden ones, sorry. But, so you have Amunet, which they actually went back and did something with. But again, it's like 8 years later, or 9 years later.
And only a little bit.
Yeah. And then we have Darius, who appeared in a DLC for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. A DLC. So it's not even a main game. You don't even really get to play as him. He's just a character that shows up, and Cassandra interacts with him, and he basically teaches her about him creating the hidden blade, which is very interesting. I love the DLC. I thought he was a very cool character. It was a very interesting DLC. But you don't even really get to play as Darius.
Right, so you never experience his adventure of crafting the first hidden blade or anything.
Exactly. So I guess to me it's disappointing because I went down there. It's one of my favorite areas. I found it very interesting. I love it, so I'm not saying I hate this. It's just disappointing because I see 6 amazing potential games here, and we've only gotten ones with 2 of them.
Right.
And it's not even a game based on these characters. These were side characters in the game. One was a DLC character that you don't play as. The other one was the main character's wife that you play as a couple times.
Yeah, it's select
segments. So it's side characters based on these games. So I just found it kind of disappointing. Assassin's Creed 2 did a great job expanding the world from AC1. They expanded the story, the backstory, different artifacts that are throughout the world. It did a great job with all of that. But it also did I think, kind of a bad job with making you disappointed. Because now you get excited. You're looking at this and you're going, oh, that would be kind of fun. I want to play as a Persian assassin who assassinates Xerxes. That would be cool. I want to go assassinate the Roman Emperor Caligula. That'd be awesome. And then you never get to play as them. So I'm just disappointed, personally.
Yeah, I know. I think that it's frustrating. And again, I feel like I could go on a 10-minute tangent, which I will hold back from this time.
Right.
But again, it's another example of world building. You're building up these ideas, and you are showing people what could be, and then you're not doing anything with it. And speaking of that, when we get to these other ones, this is not our whole point for every single missed opportunity. Not every single one is, well, you introduced this idea and then you never followed up on it. But I do think for AC 1 and 2, those games are very well made, despite us not enjoying the slow combat as much as later games. You know, despite some game design choices that maybe we don't connect with as much now, they're very tightly designed, well-made video games. You know, and they did such a good job of expanding on each other. You know, Assassin's Creed 1 put the foundation, Assassin's Creed 2 builds up on the foundation, you have Brotherhood, you have Revelations, you know, you have all these games after. But the problem is that you do this world building and you introduce these stories and you make people say, wow, I really want that. I really want to see more of that. And then there's so many different things and ideas, obviously, that Ubisoft had over the years that those ones just got kind of left as a footnote at the end or in a side mission of a previous game. And that's kind of disappointing, you know, because a lot of those stories I think would be very fascinating. Like, how did Xerxes fall? You know, what happened in Persia? Things like that. They would have been really interesting, and even, honestly, could have been a really cool spiritual successor in a way to the Prince of Persia series that lay dormant forever, because Ubisoft, when they don't make $1 billion and $1 and they just make $1 billion, they say, Splinter Cell needs to be murdered and everybody who worked on it needs to be shipped into slavery. It's like they could just get rid of every developer who shows a modicum of interest in their franchise. It's like, what's Rayman? We only care about Rabbids. If you mention Rayman in our offices, you're going to the guillotine. It's like they get rid of anybody who's interested.
And then they even try to bring back Prince of Persia, but they fumbled it so hard that now no one's going to buy it. And then they'll be like, see, everyone hates Prince of Persia.
Luckily, though, people are buying the smaller games.
That's good.
You know, like
you know,
the
Lost
newer
Crown.
Yeah, things like that.
Good. I'm very happy.
But yeah, the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake or whatever, they botched it so hard that now nobody cares. It's very disappointing. I feel like that could have been a really cool spiritual successor to that series.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of things in here that could have been cool ideas, just like the ones from AC1.
Well, and even just to think about this, and maybe this could be a whole nother video, this could have been a very cool way to tie in the Prince of Persia series and the Watch Dogs series to Assassin's Creed.
Oh, yeah.
Because they made references to Watch Dogs in AC4, you know, and even in Watch Dogs references Assassin's Creed. Like, we clearly know they're in the same universe, despite what Jonathan Ubisoft, sorry. We know that they're in the same universe, like they are. But now you could easily make a game set in Persia where you're assassinating Xerxes, and maybe the main character runs into some characters from Prince of Persia or something, you know, or some clan from Prince of Persia or something. Like, not the good clan, not the good characters, the clan from America but maybe a different. You can't
even make a joke about that anymore, because somebody's going to go back when you're president and they're going to soundbite this.
Okay.
Also, I have high hopes for you.
Okay, thank you. So it's like, you know, it's a missed opportunity all around.
Yeah.
I just think it's disappointing. You know, and Assassin's Creed, I think, is the king of this, of just disappointing things, where they introduce all these cool things, and I love the games. It's my favorite game series ever. I love them.
Bro has a tattoo. He has a tramp stamp of the assassin symbol, and then he has a reverse tramp stamp right above his Johnson of the Templar symbol.
I have one in my foreskin, too.
Oh, jeez.
But, you know, it's
Can you make it talk?
Yeah, I can. But it's like, you know, they world build so much, and I love it. I get so into it, but then I just start thinking, oh, I'd love to play that game. Oh, I want to go assassinate Alexander the Great. That'd be awesome. Oh, I'd love to fight Genghis Khan. That'd be so cool. And then they're like, yeah, we're not going to do anything with that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, and I want to mention here,
cool, I guess,
that, like, I understand too that when we talk about something, it's our job to try and be informed on it as much as possible. something that bums me out about this series is that there's so much supplementary material that you can throw a rock in a direction or a topic and some novel or some comic book has touched on it.
Yeah.
But probably one, didn't let you play it because it's not a video game. And two, somebody in the comments is going to say, well, in episode 54 of the comic book of Assassin's Creed, Blue Flag, actually Edward stubbed his toe on Kublai Khan's head. So it's like, well, I understand that out there somewhere there's probably more references to these characters.
Yeah.
But that's not a game.
But I want to play as them.
And I want both to exist.
Well, yeah.
Like, same thing with that Assassin's Creed Black Flag sequel comic.
Yeah.
We talked about that, I think, a couple of years ago. We don't want that not to exist. It's just, if it's a great story, we'd also love to play it.
Yeah, why not make a comic of it and a video game of it?
Yeah, that's
so we can experience that story too in video game form.
And then people can experience it in comic book form too.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's kind of our point, is not that, hey, nothing is ever touched on, they never get into another assassin or anything like that. Our point is just, we also want to be able to play them because, first and foremost, this is not a transmedia property, as they call all these things now. That's what they call everything now. It's like Star Wars. It's not just movies. It's games, movies, TV shows, cartoons, comics, cereal boxes. It's like, I understand that they want that to be what these things are, but like, Assassin's Creed at its core is a video game series. And I think we want to be able to play those games.
Yeah, and there's also some missed opportunities too. Like, for example, Assassin's Creed has released 2 different Assassin's Creed China games. There's the Chronicles one and then the Jade one that's not out at the time of recording this, but it's supposedly coming out. Both of those are set in China. Okay, first of all, why do they have to be mobile games and side-scrollers? I love that they exist, but why not just make a regular Assassin's Creed game?
People have been pining for a Xiao Jun game for years
Right,
now.
exactly.
She got a manga?
Cool.
Yay, transmedia property!
Yeah, I love it. But like, why... You have 2 China games and neither of them touch on the character that you've already referenced in history.
Who is apparently very interesting.
Yeah, like you've already made an assassin who assassinated the first emperor of China. That sounds interesting. Why not make a game on that?
Right.
Why make up Xiao Jun? I love Xiao Jun. I'm happy she exists. But if you're going to make a China game, why not make a China game based upon a character that you already have announced exists?
At least first.
And then go make the Xiao Jun game.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Xiao Jun existing. She's cool.
I also think we have no problem with doing multiple games in the same country if it's separated by different eras.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking like 1,000 years difference here.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I guess I don't know when the Xiao Jun game takes place to get the exact year, but... yeah, we're talking about so many years of difference here that doesn't matter. It's the same thing with the guy who murdered Caligula. We're talking like 1,400 years later in Assassin's Creed 2. Because people would say, well, this game already takes place in Rome. AC Brotherhood, I mean.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it takes place 1,400 years after the Caligula assassination.
Well, and after the fall of Rome.
You could easily get one on the Roman Empire era.
I feel like this guy's got something against Caligula.
Well, he's kind of insane.
Okay.
But anyway.
Was he the one with the little boys on the island?
He was one of those boys on that island.
Okay.
But that was his uncle, or I don't remember what they're all weirdly related, but that was Tiberius.
Okay.
With the weird island.
I wonder who got him. Like, who assassinated him.
Oh, I see.
Who got Caligula.
I was like, well, we already know. It was like his uncle Tiberius.
Not that way.
But anyways, yeah, so... I'm disappointed, kind of. That's all. It's just, I see these and I'm like, this is really cool. This is awesome. I want to play as this.
Yeah. And instead, you maybe get a comic, you maybe get a novel, you maybe get nothing.
A side character from a DLC.
Or nothing at all.
Or nothing at all.
And I think a big part of that, too, is that the game director of the original Assassin's Creed games, I believe 1, 2, and Brotherhood, ended up leaving. And the whole plan was originally for Assassin's Creed as a series. It was just for, I believe, a trilogy.
Yeah, right.
It was never going to be this big.
Yep.
But I think that once it started becoming this big, then it kind of becomes a question of, like, why'd you ignore your pre-established ideas?
Right.
Why did you just throw them out?
Yeah.
If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. We do also have a store, cosmobunny.shop, where we sell awesome handmade comic book and manga, and sometimes magazine resin pieces. These are from books that are damaged. They were unable to be sold by stores. So what we do is we actually take those, we save some of the art from them, we make a transformative resin piece for your home. We've got Vin Diesel and Paul Walker racing in the background out there for some reason in our neighborhood. And also, those are fun things that we then take the rest of the paper, we recycle it, so you get something cool for your home, help support our channel. The art lives on in some form or another, and the recycling is supported as well, because we're big green people. You know, not the aliens, though, just the normal green people. Also, we do have a Fortnite code, which is DJAY123. You want to help support this channel, that helps us out a lot. We hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.